What's good, you guys? Daniel Cruz here, back with another episode of Cook with Cruz. Today, I'm going to be breaking down a beat that I actually got placed using a sample from one of my sample packs. And that song was Oh That's Cool by Cruz on his Young 79 EP. Now, I did actually make a video of me breaking down the sample from the song back in February before I even made a beat out of it or it got placed. So I do highly recommend you go check that video out first if you want to see how I actually made the sample, me playing the keys and the guitar and everything. So if you want to get the full experience, I guess, of how this beat and song was made, I'll leave a link in the top right of this video and in the description so you can see how the sample from this song was actually made. And so today's episode is kind of almost like a follow-up. I'll be breaking down the actual beat I made from the sample, and then this beat ended up being for Cruz EP Young 79. Oh, that's cool. So I'll have a link to that song in the description as well so you can hear it after this episode here. But once again, if you haven't seen that sample broken down, link will be in the description or in the top right corner of me actually making the sample. But yes, that is what we're going to be doing today, making the beat out of the sample. Of course, please leave that thumbs up on the video for me. I greatly appreciate it. Helps out the series a lot and keeps it going. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on these videos every single Sunday. And now, without further ado, let's jump in and see how Oh That's Cool by Cruz was made. Alright, so jumping into it, just to get some context on the actual sample that I used. This sample was from my first sample pack I actually dropped this year called Lost Souls. And the sample within that pack that I used was called Lost. If you haven't checked out that pack already, another link will be in the description for you if you want to look into that. But let me go ahead and play that raw sample just so we know what we're working with. So there it goes right there. That might sound familiar to you, but it does progressively build up over time. And just some backstory about how the song came to be. Me and Cruz already have a little bit of history. I co-produced a song for him and Mozzie about a year or so ago. That's how we initially connected. And then when I was actually making this sample pack, I made an IG post of me playing the keys and the guitar. He seen it and hit me up and said he needed some vibes like that. So basically I went in and just finished it and made a beat out of it, sent it over, and then that's how the song came to be. So now let's look in and see how I took that sample and then made a beat out of it. So here we go into our playlist. I know this is one of those ones that looks complicated, but if we really want to break it up, this entire section right here is a sample. I'm just using my stems, and then all of this right here are the drums. I know it looks like a lot, but I did put a lot of little things that are pretty subtle. So as you'll hear in a minute, it's not going to sound too crazy. But just starting out, I kept everything in key. I kept it the same tempo. So a small key tip from what I personally do. Working with an artist, as he said, he liked those vibes, so I kept everything relatively the same. I didn't want to deter from the sound that he originally heard, so this is why I'm keeping it in key, keeping it the same tempo. Really just need to make a beat out of this. And for the most part, I'm really just coming in here and structuring everything out. So starting off, this is what we have for the intro here. Just use the Rhodes. This is kind of like an ambient vocal run, just to add some cool effects in the background. And then here's our main vocal sample right here. And this is generally how the actual sample starts off in the pack as well. So now one thing that I did change from the sample, and this is kind of big, especially working with vocal samples, and now we want to take this and have an artist be on it. So looking into the mixer, I did this for both. This is the Love filter, the Fruity Love filter. This is basically just a low pass. We're going to muffle down the vocal sample. This is, of course, going to leave room for the artist on the song, so their vocals are not clashing with these vocals. So this is a way in which to bring it down, but let it still be present in the track. And I did this for both this and the one I used for the octave, just a low pass filter. And then moving on, this is our verse section right here that I have highlighted. So this is where we're gonna start really messing with the structure and how the instruments come in. So for the verse, we have the bass, the high piano, main chords on the piano, our ambient vocals are gonna be there, and then our octave vocals are gonna be here. Once again, these vocals have a low pass on it. It's just gonna sit behind everything. So now, just so we can hear our instruments for the verse, this is what they're gonna sound like. And if you did notice here on the high piano, I did cut some parts out. Just for reference, what I originally played, I do have a little interval run when I transition between chords. I do bring that back in after the first 4 bars of the verse, but just so you can hear what I'm talking about, this is what it sounds like. So now for our drums, just based off the vibe of the sample and the tempo we're working with, I thought the best sound for the drums would to give it like a punchy acoustic feeling. So that's the direction I took for the drums. So let's go ahead and break those down. Go ahead and start off with our snare here. Basic close tap. And just to add some swing and bounce, if we zoom in, kind of delay them a little bit, adds a nice touch. Here's our kick. Here's our open hat that's just basically going to hit on every beat to make the drums sound a little more live. Here's some more hi-hats, and we're in contact. Abbey Road 60 drummer, again, to achieve that more live sound. And as you can see, I had them delayed again as well to add a nice swing. This is an open hat I'm going to layer with the snare to fill it up. And now jumping into the playlist here. This is a very subtle, I guess, like live drum loop with some toms and some hats. This right here I consider to be our main close hat here. Nice live hats. This clip right here is our snare in reverse. This is a real nice and subtle lead up effect to our snare. This clip right here is a live open hat. And just so I get it covered now, moving on into the verse, I'm gonna add this in as the drums develop. This is basically a nice little percussive loop that's just gonna sit behind everything, and I pretty much cut parts out that I didn't want in. So now, just so we can hear our drums solo, let's take a listen to what they sound like. So there goes all the drums right there. Let's run it back to the intro and then hear how the verse comes in now. So from here on out, as you're starting to hear there in the verse, it's really just structuring everything out. And you saw as we led into there, we added those perks, so our drums are kind of subtly and slowly building up. And then for the last part of the verse, we'll have those fast hi-hats from Contact. And then moving on to the last section of the verse here. I still have it as the verse, and Curry used it as the end of his verse, but I wanted the section to feel more like a pre-hook to kind of just switch up the beat a little bit. You can see we're cutting out a lot of the drums, just leaving our main hats, percussion. I do add one more thing to the drums, which is this clip right here. This is just more live hats. It just really just brings out that sound. And just so it wasn't clashing with all my other hats and everything, here's a clip. I brought it down an octave, so this helps cut all the highs out, of course, on it, and just sits low and sounded nice with everything. Instruments, we're bringing the Rhodes back in, our main Vox, so we're gonna have octave on the vocal sample here. So this part is gonna be a little more thinned out. And now for our hook, which is all of this section right here, we're going to be bringing everything together now. Now, if you're familiar with the sample, I do play like a little guitar solo lead in there. Really didn't know if I wanted to add it in the beat because I didn't want to overdo it. But again, going based off of what Kerr, the artist, wanted, I think the guitar did add that vibe, so I did put it in just for the hook, but I kept it really low so it wasn't overpowering anything, especially when it came to his voice for the hook. So just so you can hear the guitar, this is what it's gonna sound like. So there goes the guitar right there. So let's run it back. End of the verse, into the hook, and then of course we're just gonna rinse and repeat into the second verse. So there goes right there. That's the entire beat. Oh, That's Cool by Kerr on the Young 79 EP. That is out now. Links will be in the description for everything, including the original sample breakdown, so you can see how I played the keys, the guitar, and everything and put it together. The sample pack in which the sample is in, and then of course the song, Oh That's Cool, so you can check it out. So check out the description. I'll have everything down there below for you. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the beat. As always, I appreciate you guys' feedback. One last reminder to leave a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed today's episode. I'd really appreciate it. Keep leaving me comments on any suggestions that you guys want to see. I'll definitely make an episode on them. But otherwise, I wanted to thank the few that do watch these episodes every Sunday. I appreciate you guys. And that is all for me today. I will see you guys next Sunday. I'm out. Peace.